With rising inflation and staggering debt levels, many are left wondering how France's economy got to this point and what it means for their future. The French economy, once a beacon of stability in the European Union, is facing unprecedented challenges. According to recent reports, France's national debt is expected to reach 115% of its GDP by the end of 2023, with some experts predicting it could surpass 120% in 2024. This alarming trend has sparked widespread concern among economists, policymakers, and ordinary citizens alike. Behind the headlines, a more nuanced picture emerges. France's economy has struggled to achieve sustainable growth since the 2008 global financial crisis, with periods of stagnation punctuated by brief periods of modest expansion. Meanwhile, public spending and a bloated bureaucracy have driven up debt levels, leaving the country increasingly vulnerable to market volatility and external shocks. As France teeters on the brink of a debt crisis, many are asking tough questions about the country's economic governance and the long-term sustainability of its social model. What went wrong, and can France's economy be put back on track before it's too late? In the decades following World War II, France experienced a period of rapid economic growth, often referred to as the 30 Glorious Years. During this time, the country invested heavily in industry, infrastructure, and social welfare programs, propelling it to the forefront of European economic powers. However, this growth came at a cost as France's economy became increasingly dependent on state intervention and public spending. In recent years, France's economic growth has stagnated, and the country's competitiveness has suffered. The Eurozone crisis exposed France's vulnerabilities, and successive governments have struggled to implement meaningful reform. As a result, France's economy has become mired in debt, with a bloated public sector and a shrinking private sector. Despite these challenges, France remains one of the world's leading economies, with a highly skilled workforce, a strong manufacturing sector, and a rich cultural heritage. However, the country's economic model is in desperate need of reform if it is to remain competitive in the 21st century. Today, France's economy is facing a perfect storm of challenges. With inflation on the rise, the cost of living is skyrocketing, and ordinary citizens are feeling the pinch. Meanwhile, the government is under pressure to reduce debt levels and implement meaningful reform, all while navigating the complexities of European Union policy. According to recent data, France's GDP growth rate is expected to slow significantly in 2024, while inflation is expected to reach 3.5%. Unemployment remains stubbornly high, particularly among young people, and the country's trade deficit continues to widen. Against this backdrop, the French government is facing intense pressure to act, but so far, its response has been piecemeal and ineffective. Expert analysts predict that France's debt crisis will come to a head in 2024, with some forecasting a full-blown sovereign debt crisis unless drastic action is taken. The consequences of such a crisis would be far-reaching, with implications for the entire European Union. In an interview with Le Monde, French economist Jacques Sapir warned, "France is facing a debt crisis of unprecedented proportions. Unless we take drastic action to reduce public spending and implement meaningful reform, we risk a catastrophic collapse of our economy." Meanwhile, European Commissioner for Economic Affairs, Paolo Gentiloni, has urged France to take bold action to address its debt crisis, stating, "France is at a crossroads. It must choose between continued stagnation and reform. The European Commission stands ready to support France in this process, but the choices must be made in Paris." The potential consequences of France's debt crisis are dire, with implications for the entire European Union. A sovereign debt crisis would lead to a sharp increase in borrowing costs, making it even harder for France to service its debt. This, in turn, could trigger a broader credit crunch, destabilizing the entire Eurozone. Moreover, the social and political implications of a debt crisis would be far-reaching. The French people are already struggling to make ends meet, and a debt crisis would only exacerbate their misery. Meanwhile, the political fallout could be severe, with anti-establishment parties like the National Rally poised to capitalize on the government's failures. As one ordinary French citizen told us, "I'm worried about the future. I'm worried about my children's future. I don't know how much longer we can keep going like this." The debt crisis is a ticking time bomb, and France's politicians must act now to defuse it. The country needs a comprehensive plan to reduce debt, increase competitiveness, and promote sustainable growth. Anything less would be a betrayal of the French people. In conclusion, France's economy is facing an unprecedented crisis, with far-reaching implications for the entire European Union. The situation is urgent, and the time for action is now. Will France's politicians rise to the challenge, or will they continue to kick the can down the road? If you want to learn more about the economic challenges facing Europe, be sure to check out our next video, where we explore the biggest economic risks facing the continent in 2024. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.